Hey guys, and good morning. So yesterday I took a break from Inktober. The pieces I'm doing are so detailed and I needed a break from inking every single day. That means I'm a little behind again. I figured I'll work on that and not a lot else. So I figured I would show you a time lapse of the projects I'm working on, do a little bit of a voiceover on a certain topic. I think what I'm going to talk about today is going to be about using reference in your artwork and show you how I use reference for my artwork, especially for this Inktober. I'm gonna finish off my coffee and get to work on my to-do list to make sure I'm staying on track, and then jump right into working on my Inktober pieces. I figured I would take a little bit of a break since I got something in the mail. I figured I would do a little unboxing, mail time. Do you know what these are? I know what these are. So if any of you have seen me at an artist alley, one of my favorite products to have my art printed on to sell, these cosmetic pouches. They're technically cosmetic pouches, but I sell them as zipper pouches because that's literally what they are. It's a zipper pouch. I like to advertise these as being pencil cases. This size works really well as a 3DS holder, or you could even use it as a wallet. On the inside, it has a nice lining, but it also has another zipper that fits like credit cards and change and things. So I feel like it also works really well as a wallet. This is my Spirit Wolf watercolor piece, which I actually have a video of this. It's one of my first videos on my channel, and I will link that up above if you're interested in seeing that. This reading mermaid. This is my space badger. I feel like the texture of the watercolor works really, like it's printed really well on these pouches. It's a polyester material, has a little bit of a shine to it, but the watercolor is actually printed on there super nicely. And because it's a polyester blend, it's actually fairly water resistant. Another favorite design of mine that I actually don't offer on a lot of products, but I really like it for this, especially since this fits a lot of handheld game systems. So this is my Succulent Totoro fan art. Last but not least, my sloth painting. I have a video of this that I will link up above. I did this piece originally for an art zine I was in, and it ended up not getting funded, but I am really happy that it was a great motivation to get me to finish this piece. I wanted to just show you guys the detail of how well this printed on this bag. It's so cute. These will be available at my next conventions. The next one I'll be at is Anime Destiny, which is a smaller one out of UC Berkeley. That's all the conventions I have for this year. I will also be at SAC Anime. I believe it's the first weekend of January. and I will actually be in the indie press section, so I will have all my own original art. I will also be at Anime Los Angeles toward the end of January. Hey guys, I thought I would pop on here for a voiceover to show you how I go about finding and using reference imagery for my work. So first off, I like to find a website like Pixabay that has copyright-free images so that I can copy them as much as I'd like, and if I really like how I've used the image, I can reproduce it. So what I did is I looked through these images of squirrels and found this one I liked to sketch. And so in my big blue sketchbook, I've been sketching quite a few different squirrels. Since I haven't drawn them a ton, I wanted to draw a whole bunch in different positions. And as I started to draw them, I came up with new ideas for how I wanted to position them and sort of loosely interpreted them more and more. I also like to draw out little thumbnails like these that are very, very loose to get a basic composition down. I realized that I wanted to add pine cones to the tail for this particular piece because I thought that would be really cute, and I hadn't drawn a lot of pine cones before, and when I have, I've gotten really frustrated by how complicated they are. So what I did is I used reference and I picked out the sort of abstract shapes that I was able to repeat and made a sort of pine cone like that without making it too complicated, without shading, and just more of a hint of what a pine cone looked like. Here's a close-up of the sketches I did today. I decided I wanted to add some pines around the pine cone and possibly have a big bushy tail behind the squirrel in this thumbnail here. So with that in mind, I now start on my final watercolor paper. I sketch with a really hard lead that does not make a very dark line and is really easy to erase, which is very important for me. I'm very heavy-handed and I wanted to not have to erase too much, but if I did, I wanted it to be really easy to clean up on the paper. I then added in roughly where I wanted all the pine cones and a loose idea of where all the lines would go without getting overly detailed because I wanted to have a loose look as well as let the ink kind of lead me to what details went where. As you can see on the left, I have the pine cones that I drew, and here I'm adding them in with the ink, and it's just very loose little shapes in these patterns that are more of a hint at a pine cone than a real pine cone, but I think when everything goes together it looks pretty nice. I also repeat the pine cone multiple times, and I find that often when you're drawing things from nature, as long as you repeat your pattern over and over in various parts of the composition, it will look a lot more realistic, even if you've taken some creative liberties with how you're drawing it. I also added smaller pine needle sort of lines around each of the pine cones, and I feel like this helps to add to them being pine cones when you're looking at the entire piece altogether. So to go over a little bit more of how I did this and how I used the reference, I sketched out as realistically as I could the animal and pine cones over and over, and then I sketched more and more a little looser and with my own interpretation of how I draw the fur and where leaves might be for the way I'm doing my animals here, and I sort of played around and got looser and looser with how I sketched. I also sketch in ballpoint pen. I didn't always do this. This is fairly new for me, and I found that it's been really liberating to just get the lines down, not have to worry about it. You can get a light sketch and add some depth to it by pressing harder, but you can't erase and you can't overthink it. So I then sketched thumbnails that were really simple, but got the concepts down. When I finally get to my final piece, I actually tend to look at my own sketches rather than reference when I'm sketching out my final lines. I find that this pushes me a little bit farther past copying exactly from the image that I referenced initially, and it helps me to keep within the style that I was sketching in. This is how I do things personally, and it's not necessarily the right way. I just wanted to share this with you guys because I thought it was an interesting topic to talk about using reference, and especially for this series, I have used a ton of reference, at least in my sketchbook. When I get to the final piece, I'm a little looser with what reference I'm using, and I'm actually referencing my own sketches. The more sketches I have, the more I can see how I want to draw the body and how I want to infuse my own take and my own style on everything. Alright, we're getting to the end here, and I'm actually going to end the vlog from the voiceover. So here in a sec, you're going to see the final piece in its entirety, and I wanted to thank you guys again for watching. Like and comment down below if you liked this content, and I hope you have a creatively fulfilled day, and I will see you guys tomorrow.